Okay, whenever we talk about Lady Macbeth, we first need to understand femininity and masculinity and how that is presented in this play. So first off, we're going to talk about femininity, okay? When I say femininity, I mean the ways that society expects or understands behaviour that is typically associated with women. So just because something is described as a feminine behaviour doesn't mean it is a behaviour of only people who identify as female. That's not what that means. What that means is that society associates that behaviour with how that society understands women and kind of the presentation of women. Now, the presentation and expectations of women was very different for Shakespeare's audience than it is, for example, for us in arts. We're kind of studying this play in England. We're kind of sat with these modern values of kind of what it means to be a woman, what it means to express your gender, etc. But for Shakespeare's audience, he's writing for a very specific expectation of femininity. And actually, the femininity that's portrayed in Macbeth would have been quite subversive at the time. And it's quite shocking how that kind of femininity is dealt with over the course of the play, because, for example, Lady Macbeth's transgression does lead to her death. But it's important that we're able to talk about this in a clever and articulate way. So we've been teaching you this, that in Shakespeare's time, in Jacobean England, women were expected to be. Write it down for yourself. And you should have written passive, pious, and pure. Now, if you're not sure what these mean, if you're passive, you're quite subversive and you're quite obedient. If you're pious, you're quite holy, you're loyal to God. And if you're pure, you are moral. So I'm just going to put passive, obedient, pious, holy, and pure, moral. Okay? And women in general, kind of femininity in general, was seen as quite a weak quality. It was seen as a sign of weakness. It was seen as something that needed protection. Okay? Now, femininity was expected to be passive, pious, and pure. So, when that was quite subversive, if a person that was presenting as a woman started to present as not pious, but disobedient, sorry, not passive, but disobedient, not pious, but blasphemous, not pure, but immoral, then that would be considered very dangerous. So, for example, Lady Macbeth is quite transgressive because she is active and disobedient. She is blasphemous and disloyal, treacherous, and she is immoral and corrupt. And these qualities were considered to be quite dangerous. Now, in this play, they're clearly dangerous because they lead to Lady Macbeth's death. She dies at the end of the play. Okay, the suicide that takes place is Lady Macbeth's kind of punishment for her sin. She is punished for her sin. She is punished for her transgression. Now, we could argue that transgressing society's expectations is not necessarily a bad thing. That transgression, for example, being disobedient, can be a very powerful thing for a woman. But in this play that is written during a time when the fear of witchcraft was at its height, a dangerous woman was very powerful indeed. And this play, unfortunately, does present a transgressive woman as dangerous and possibly harmful. And that is likely why Lady Macbeth, because she rejects her femininity, because she does not kind of submit and conform to expectations, she is punished for her transgression. In the same way that Macbeth is punished for his transgression, there are just different transgressions happening here.